Hello everyone, welcome to ekamiasacademy. So welcome to the daily answer writing series. So in this particular aspect, we are discussing the geography real-time answer writing as we write the answer on live. So to showcase that how to construct the answer for the beginners. So this particular initiative is to help beginners on how to start up writing answers, and for the freshers who generally come very new to these particular subjects like geography, history, polity and other aspects included in UPSC mains. And it also helps the seniors on how to structurize the answer, also helps the repeaters on what point to eliminate and what point we have to write in the answer or not. Clear? So we will be moving into the question of the day, and the question associates with account for spatial and temporal variations in the temperature distribution of earth and reasons for it. So here the keyword is temperature and its distribution, and what are the reasons which are affecting this particular temperature distribution as such. That is what we are going to discuss here. So as you know, first initially we will try to search for approach of answer. So what shall be the approach? First, as everyone know, the very old methodology: introduction, body and conclusion. So within the introduction क्या लिखेंगे? टेम्परेचर के बारे में लिखेंगे, डेफिनेशन लिखेंगे, and we tend to define the temperature here in the introduction. Body में reasons influencing टेम्परेचर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ये लिखेंगे मेन बॉडी में. कंक्लूजन चेंजेस इन टेम्परेचर के बारे में लिखेंगे, either due to anthropogenic causes or due to natural causes. The temperatures on the surface earth, how they are changing accordingly with the season and also with the anthropogenic activities which are there. So this is how the approach of our answer shall be. Clear? Let's move writing the answer. So whoever would be watching the video, please write the answer along with me, so that जहाँ पे भी आप wrong हो, wherever you might be wrong, clear, वहाँ पे आप सही कर सकते हैं. So cross check this particular answer. This is almost like a challenge between you and me to write the answer as such. Okay. So in the introduction, as I have already said, we are going to define this particular temperature as such. Temperature refers to amount of degree of hotness or coldness which has its source of heat from the terrestrial radiation, whereby atmosphere is not heated up with insolation, rather it heats up with terrestrial radiation, where terrestrial radiation refers to release of heat from Earth surface after being heated through insolation. So generally the temperatures whichever would be recorded, these particular temperatures are not the resultant of the insolation falling on the Earth's surface. Insolation might be acting as an indirect source for the temperature, but actually it is terrestrial radiation. What is terrestrial radiation? When the surfaces which are there, these particular surfaces which shall be heated, these surfaces, they generally tend to release the heat. So earth surfaces, once it is heated with the insolation, it would be heated, and once it is heated, it releases the heat in the form of terrestrial radiation. So when the heat is released in the form of terrestrial radiation, the greenhouse gases or other gases present in the atmosphere traps this particular heat, and in this way the atmosphere which is there, that is heated from below rather than from insolation. So do remember this particular point, it is very, very important as such. Okay, so this is the best introduction, possible introduction which you can write. So which has its source of heat from terrestrial radiation, where atmosphere is not heated up with insolation, rather it heats up with terrestrial radiation. So ऐसा अगर अच्छा सा introduction दे दिया आंसर को, so it will be helping the examiner to give you understand better. पहले आपका आंसर को समझता है वो, then he will be giving you some sort of very good marks as such. Okay, तो if you see body of the answer, so body में क्या लिखेंगे? Generally temperature varies altitudinal wise, spatial wise temperature vary होगा, regionally temperature varies, and temporal distribution में भी temperature vary होगा. So if you could see, we have 3 important zones on that surface. ये diagrammatical representation आप draw करो. Tropical region, then होता है temperate region, then comes as polar region. ठीक है, so within this particular aspect, this particular tropical region, it is heat excess zone, and these particular regions are heat deficit zones. So ये आप लिख सकते हैं, एक डायग्राम आप वहां पे ड्रॉ करके एग्जामिनर को ये समझा सकते हैं कि लाइक टेम्परेचर्स जनरली, ये पॉइंट लिखो बॉडी में, टेम्परेचर्स इन जनरल सेंस डिक्रीजेस while we move from lower to higher latitudes, as such. ठीक है, तो इसमें आप क्या लिख सकते हैं? But certain factors determine the spatial and temporal distribution of temperature. So there are certain reasons why we shall be having certain aspects which tend to change the temperatures in that particular region. तो उसमें factors मैं लिखता हूं यहाँ पे, आप ये factors आंसर में लिख दो. Latitudes have a factor, altitude as a factor, continentality as a factor, land sea distribution as a factor, albedo as a factor, nature of ground slope as a factor, winds as a factor, oceanic currents as a factor, generally tends to influence these particular temperature distribution across the world. You know, latitude wise, like generally within the latitudes, what would happen is like we would be having moving away from the lower to higher latitudes due to lack of insolation. We would be having the differentiation in heating, and that results into temperature differences. That's why we move from lower latitudes to higher latitudes. Generally we would be having this temperature change. And altitude wise also, see here, if the answer is being asked for 250 words, then you elaborate these particular statements. अगर आंसर 150 वर्ड में पूछ रहे हैं तो इसको elaborate करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है, वो कोशिश करो कि आप प्रिसाइज्ड में ये कीवर्ड्स लिखा जाए. So there is no necessity for you to elaborate. If the answer is asked for 150 words, there is necessity that you have to elaborate if it is being asked for 250 words. So altitude wise, as everyone know, moving altitude wise, the temperature decreases for every 6.5 degree centigrade per 1000 meter. तो ये चाहे तो डायग्रामेटिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन आप यहाँ पे दे सकते हैं. And continentality as a factor influences the temperature, because as we move away from the sea into the continents, into the inland nature, that particular aspect shall be called as continentality. So as continentality wise हम move कर रहे हैं, so the continentality feature which would be there, that tends to create extremes of temperature where summers are hotter, winters are cooler. Example Delhi है. Delhi, as it is far away from the sea, Delhi would be experiencing huge amount of essence of this particular continentality as a factor. Along with that, winds would be acting as one such factor, whereby the dominant warm wind presence in any region increases the temperature of that zone, and cold wind presence will tend to decrease the temperature of that zone. Example, a wind called as Lu during summer राजस्थान में start होगा, Indo-Gangetic plain में move होते होते 2 डिग्री से 3 डिग्री तक एवरेज टेम्परेचर जो है वो इंक्रीज करने लगेगा. तो विंड्स विच आर देयर, दे टेंड टू इंक्रीज द टेम्परेचर ऑफ एवरेज टेम्परेचर ऑफ दैट रीजन. सो हेंस दिस इज ऑल्सो एन एडिंग फैक्टर विच शैल बी एसोसिएटेड विथ इट. अलॉन्ग विद दैट, अगर आप देखेंगे लैंड सी डिफरेंशिएशन, सो इससे क्या होता है, वी शैल बी हैविंग टेम्परेचर एनोमली विच इज प्रेजेंट. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट्स से in the one particular region we have land dominance, their temperatures would be extreme. In one region, if water is dominant, then temperatures are quite on an average note, they are bit moderate in nature. So जहां पे भी land and sea differentiation of distribution है, वहां पे temporal anomaly, the temperature anomaly presents, that makes the difference in temperature. That's why अगर आप आइसोथर्म को पढ़ेंगे वर्ल्ड सरफेस में, तो वो आइसोथर्म लैंड से अगर वाटर में एंटर हो रहा है, दैट टेंड टू हैव ए स्टीप कर्व. अगर वाटर से लैंड एंटर हो रहा है, दैट टेंड टू हैव ए स्टीप कर्व. तो वो स्टीप रेज और रिड्यूस इन टेम्परेचर generally is a resemblance of land sea differentiation whichever is present. So generally we read the temperature, we understand the temperature by reading isotherms, by observing isotherms. Isotherms are nothing but they are generally imaginary horizontal lines on that surface which connects the equal temperature zones. तो वो isotherms पढ़ते पढ़ते जहां से water से land enter होंगे या land से water enter होंगे, there shall be some steep rise and steep decrease in temperatures. That happens because of the land sea differentiation as such. Next, albedo would also be one factor which influences the temperature. Albedo का मतलब है diffuse reflectivity. तो ये आंसर में लिखना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. डिफ्यूज रिफ्लेक्टिविटी का मतलब जैसे सरफेस के ऊपर इंसोलेशन गिरेगा, वहां से कितना अमाउंट रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है. अगर स्नो के ऊपर गिर रहा है तो मैक्सिमम रिफ्लेक्शन होगा. डार्क सॉइल के ऊपर गिर रहा है तो मैक्सिमम एब्जॉर्प्शन होगा, कम रिफ्लेक्शन होगा. तो एल्बिडो का मतलब कितना रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है. स्नो का एल्बिडो इज वेरी हाई, ऑलमोस्ट 90% रिफ्लेक्ट्स. डार्क सॉइल का एल्बिडो इज वेरी लेस बिकॉज समवेयर अराउंड 10 to 15% रिफ्लेक्ट होगा, बाकी 80-85% एब्जॉर्ब होगा. सो दिस एल्बिडो इज अ फैक्टर. वेरेवर वी हैव हाई एल्बिडो, लेस टेम्परेचर, less albedo, high temperature. So albedo is a factor would be influencing. That's the reason why the roofs, terraces are generally painted with this white color or green color so that maximum reflection हो, बहुत कम absorption हो. Buildings black color इसीलिए नहीं रहेंगे. The reason behind it is this. So do remember this particular factor. Apart from this, nature of ground slope, अगर आप देखेंगे certain slopes mountainous regions पे हैं which tends to face the sun directly. So those slopes of the mountains facing the sun directly, they tend to have maximum temperatures and back to the mountains less temperatures. So elaborate करके mountain का representation देके आप इसको explain कर सकते हैं. Oceanic current का मतलब क्या है? Oceanic current refers to bulk mass of water or large mass of water in the oceans moving in a particular direction under the influence of certain factors. उस factors में wind is dominant factor which makes this water to move. So वो bulk mass of oceanic movement को हम oceanic current बोलते हैं. तो ये oceanic currents warm and cold oceanic currents रहेंगे. जो नीचे से ऊपर जा रहा है lower latitude से higher latitudes, warm oceanic currents, higher latitude to lower latitude cold oceanic current. So warmer oceanic current presence अगर है, we will be having some extreme temperatures, hot and humid conditions. Cool oceanic currents का presence अगर है coast के ऊपर, so we will be finding cooler conditions and dry conditions. तो these oceanic current presence will also determine the spatial and temporal distribution of the temperature as such. तो यही ऐसा फैक्टर्स हैं जिसको आप 150 वर्ड में पूछे तो सिर्फ फैक्टर्स लिखो, 250 वर्ड्स में पूछे तो इसको एलोबरेट करो, ठीक है. एंड विद इन द बॉडी यू कैन राइट two terminologies which are associated with the distribution of temperature. One is heat budget. Regarding with the heat budget of the earth, the balance between terrestrial radiation and insolation, which shall determine temperature. और एक है जिसको हम लैटिट्यूडनल हीट बैलेंस बोलते हैं. यू कैन राइट दिस इन बॉडी. अर्थ मेंटेन्स ऑलमोस्ट कांस्टेंट रेट ऑफ temperatures across different latitudes by heat balance or transferring the heat through air masses, winds and ocean currents, which acts as a thermal engine. So these are also two factors which are associated with the vertical heat distribution of the earth and horizontal heat distribution of the earth. Clear? So heat budget generally differs the vertical distribution of the earth, and latitudinal heat balance generally maintains the heat between these particular latitudes as such. So these two are also to be written in the body of answer as such. And conclusion में temperature distribution, optimistic लिखना है conclusion. Okay, so temperature distribution on earth is determining the climate of that region, but global warming is altering the temperature patterns, and henceforth the climate and weather pattern of that region. Hence it is necessity to focus on these climate change issues for temperature distribution, maintaining constantly. So this is how you have to relate this particular temperature with that of global warming and climate change. तो ऐसा conclusion आप लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है. And hope you have written better answer than me. Hope you have written bit less points than me. It's not the call. It is not the purpose which we are having. The only purpose is to get the clarity on how the structure has to be formed, to make certain points to be involved into your mind while you write this particular answer, and to awaken you that if you might have missed any point, so to address that particular point also in this answer rating. See, ये answer rating का मतलब कुछ, ये answer rating का course जो है, this is not meant for promotion or this is not meant for taking the personal benefit as such. The main motto is to give clarity to the students on how the answer writing to be written. So this is how the framework of the answer would be. If you want your answer which you have written to be checked, please get in contact with the contact details given, or else if you want any point of your answer has to be checked, please do drop it in the comment section so that we will be giving you the feedback as such. And if you have liked this video, please do like it and share it so that it will reach as much as it can. And please subscribe to Academy channel and click on the bell icon so that you would be getting continuous notification. Thank you for watching this video. Have an awesome day. Jai Hind.